I'm Justin Jenkins with LearnMongo.com. Today, I have a fun little quick tip for you. Did you know there's a special file you can edit and add some really useful features as well as fun every time you log into MongoDB on the command line? Well, I'm going to show you. First, I'm going to go ahead and log into my MongoDB, and you'll see a couple of interesting things. First off, instead of just the server information, you'll see a kind of dumb little joke. More on that later. And then there is some information about a database and how many collections there are in it, and information about a particular collection in that database, how many documents and how many indexes are in it, as well as our command prompt is now a pretzel. So how do we do that? And how do you do something like that? Well, the secret is a file called the mongorc.js file, and put it in your home folder. Every time you load up Mongo, be able to do some cool stuff. It's sort of like a bash RC file if you're familiar with that. So let's take a look. First, I'm setting up my database manually to go to a specific database, the test database. And out of that, I'm assigning a variable called rcjoke to a query which will get a random document from this jokes collection. And since .aggregate brings back a cursor, I actually need to turn that to an array and get the first item out of it. A little more on that later. Next, we switch our databases over to one called Cooker. And there we get a couple different variables. We get the name of the database, the name of a collection, and then stats on the database and the collection. If you haven't done that before, let's log back in real quick. See how that works. So if you do db.stats, you'll see some information about your database, including number of objects total in it, along with the number of collections. I could also run this on my collection, and I'll have a lot more data in there. Now, back to the RC file. Once we have this information in variables, we can start outputting it with print. So here I'm getting the joke, and then I can use dot syntax to get the setup and the punchline of that joke. And then here I can get the database information, the database name, and the collection counts, as well as the stats, the count of documents, and indexes in that collection. Then lastly, if I just uncomment these lines, I'll now get a random recipe from my recipes collection in my Cooker database, and I'll output information about that. And next time I log in, we'll see information about that. Lastly, if we assign the prompt right here, variable to something, we can make it a pretzel, for example. But you can imagine you can do a lot more with that. You could put the date or the collection you're in or the database you're in, etc. But let's go ahead and save this file and log out, clear screen, and we'll log back in. And now you could see we have this extra information about our recipe. So it says the recipe pancakes is 4 likes. And again, if we exit, clear, log back in, we'll get a completely different recipe, brown sugar, and it has 3 likes. And we'll also get another dumb joke. So, I hope you had fun with this quick little tip. Let me know if that was cool and if you want to see more of these. I'm doing them as a companion to my LinkedIn learning course, MongoDB, which will be coming out pretty soon, or may already be out by the time you watch this. So again, I'm Justin Jenkins for LearnMongo.com, and have fun.